So there's a bill to make oyster farming legal, and that's headed to the governor's desk for his approval. And if Governor Kemp signs off, it means the Georgia oyster will rise again.
Yeah, CBS 46's Gravir Dinsa has a story behind the revival of Georgia's oyster industry.
From oyster festivals to happy hours with half shells, Georgians love these shellfish. But despite a 100-mile-long coastline, the majority of oysters you eat come from neighboring states.
We feature a lot of oysters right now. We mostly get them from the Gulf, like we buy them from Alabama and Florida. But I would love to have just some really beautiful Georgia oysters on the menu. It'd be great.
The University of Georgia is working to jumpstart the state's oyster industry and propel it back to the top.
Georgia used to lead the nation in oyster production in the 1930s or so. We had 13 canneries up and down the coast of Georgia, and we're supplying oysters really to the entire country.
Mark Reese is the executive director of UGA's Marine Extension and Georgia Sea Grant, which runs the state's first and only oyster hatchery. Reese says over time, Georgia's wild oyster, known to grow in clumps, just wasn't in demand.
When you go to a restaurant, you want a single oyster on a half shell, and the oysters we produce naturally are sharp, skinny, and really hard to shuck, so they don't command a high price in the market any longer.
The hatchery, which opened in 2015, is currently producing millions of oyster seeds in hopes of creating a steady supply for farmers to revive the industry. To raise awareness about this science, UGA has partnered with Ponce City Market to host a special event featuring local restaurants and a screening of the film Shifting Baselines about Georgia's commercial fishing industry.
So it's an education and awareness piece that we really hope to get out of this. And if people in Metro Atlanta know more about where some of their food's coming from and are willing to support this effort, you know, that's ultimately our biggest goal.
Executive Chef Andrew Cassiopo says Georgia oysters have a unique taste, which will give competitors like Florida and the Carolinas a run for their money.
Georgia coastline is really pristine salt marshes, which really give a really clean salinity to Georgia oysters and a little bit of grassiness, which is really, really nice and unique.
His restaurant, Bisa Cucinas at Ponce City Market, is one of several restaurants offering a tasting at the event. Cassiopo says the potential for farming oysters in the state would be an economic boost all around.
So 95% of what we order and what we buy from is within the state of Georgia. So if we can get oysters from the state of Georgia, why wouldn't we? You know, we want our own money going back into our own economy.
The Ponce City Market Oyster Social is Thursday on the market's rooftop. You can tap on the CBS 46 app for all the details. For CBS 46 News, I'm Gravir Dinsa.